Hey guys, Siddharth here, and this is gonna be my fourth and final Dark Season 3 video before the full series or Season 3 drops on Saturday. I'm really excited for it, and I hope all of you are. Subscribe and hit a like if you have been enjoying these videos. And let's get started with this theory video, which will include some of the theories that relate to the previous videos and some of them which are new based on reviews and I would say normally photos we've been getting. Also, be warned for spoilers if you haven't watched Dark Season 1 or 2, or if you don't want to know anything about Season 3 itself. With that being said, let's get started. My first theory is going to be based on the official poster which was released by the Dark Netflix accounts on Friday, the 19th of June, and this basically shows Jonas and Martha in this desert area which I had speculated to be either 2088 or somewhere in the alternate world which we don't know about yet. And in this desert area we obviously see the cave which has the same shape as the cave we saw in the alternate world and the original world, but that's not what I'm going to talk about here. The important thing of this poster, which may be a small Easter egg, is if you zoom in very closely on the photo, you can actually see the words Sic Mundus Creatus Est on the top of the cave, and it's been enshrined or carved there, I would say, by somebody, and this means that this cave is going to be very important to Sic Mundus in 2088 even perhaps, or this could also mean that Sic Mundus is important in the alternate world as well. So this first theory was not really a theory but a spoiler or Easter egg in some ways. But anyway, one more thing I just wanted to say about the posters was in all three of the seasons they've used the same cave imagery, so I'll have it up on screen for you. Season 1, 2 and 3 we all see Jonas in the cave, and then obviously in season 3 we see Martha as well. Okay guys, here I have on screen for you a website called the Jakarta Post, which basically has posted a review on Dark Season 3. And basically, these are some of the quotes. He says there are a lot of moving pieces throughout each season, and the storylines take place within so many time frames that untangling them would require days or even weeks. So he does confirm that it is complex, but another good point he makes is the complexity of Dark is what makes it so addictive, which I think a lot of us will agree with. Then he also says that the performance of Jonas Khanwal by Louis Hoffman is amazing, and then he does say it's a head scratching storyline like the first two seasons. Now, a few spoilers ahead. He does confirm the presence of the Eve character, but he does say it's Eva. And initially I was a bit skeptical on why it is called Eva, but I then did a bit of research and I found out that Eva is basically the German version of Eve. There's no word called Eve in German, sort of how Mikkel is the German Michael. And then he basically says that the important characters for the endgame or the ending are Adam, Eva, Jonas, Martha, and Claudia, and that they will define how the show is ended and the story is ended. And then he also says that there are new mysteries, and the first two seasons are basically going to be first two episodes, sorry, are basically going to be quite confusing, but then it all starts to make sense. And then he'll just say that the last but one episode, between the time, which many people have heard this say from many reviews, all of them I've read, is the last but one episode is the best episode. And I think that this happens in a lot of shows where the last but one episode is the episode where they solve the mysteries and the story really becomes wholesome, because the last episode is sort of a conclusion where you have to have a sort of epilogue to the story and everything has to end. But the last but one episode is still the last episode in the series where people can actually, it's still a normal episode is what I would say. And then he basically goes on to say that the acting from everyone is amazing, and then he concludes by saying the technicality, like the cinematography and the visuals, are amazing. And then he does say that different aspect ratios Now, one thing I heard from different people is that they used a different effect to switch between the worlds, like how in season 1 and 2 they used the tick sound to switch between timelines. They're going to use an effect to switch between worlds. Many viewers liked it, some didn't like it, they thought it was a bit distracting. Maybe the different aspect ratios is the visual effect technique they use. And then he basically goes on to say that this is the end. It's not going to be an easy watch, and but it's going to be the greatest Netflix original show to date. It's truly that exceptional. If you want to watch the or read, in fact, the whole review, I will leave a link to it in the description down below, so you can go and watch it. But that's going to be this review segment, and let's move on to the third part of this video, which is quite important as well. Okay, the third part of the video I'm going to be talking about is the franchise trailer. The trailer is about 2 minutes, which basically recaps everything we already saw, and only in the final minute we get a few new shots. So basically, the first shot I've put up on the screen right now is obviously Hannah Convolt, and then obviously the man above her has got to be Egon Tiedemann. We can obviously see the police badge in the upper left in the mirror, and then we can also see by the way he dresses that it's gonna be Egon Tiedemann. And we already expected this. It's not much of a shock if you've been following the theories for some time now, because we saw the way he looked at her in season 2. And then the most important thing is the Saint Christopher pendant. And so the main theory is that Hannah is going to become the woman that is going to be drowning in the lake, like the story Bartosz told in, I think, season 2 episode 7 or 8, when he was trying to scare Martha, and that Hannah is going to become that woman. And the probability is that Hannah is going to get killed by either Katharina or this lady called Helen Albers, because who is Katharina's mother, in fact. And we don't have any reason why it could be Helen Albers. The only reason I'm saying this, in fact, is because we have a few behind the scenes photos where she's quite bloody and holding a pink jacket or wearing a pink jacket, which we see in the other trailers where she's banging a rock against someone's face. So that's the only reason. So I mainly think is going to be Katharina or Helen Albert. And after that, roll to the trailer, we do get the same shots of Noah. We get a shot of Helga in the bunker. We get a few shots of the apocalypse, and then we get a few shots of what looks like either alt Claudia or our world Claudia using the new time machine by turning a few dials. And then we see Jonas and Martha kissing. It looks like Martha is kissing Jonas. And then we see a shot of a couple having sex. This might be alt Martha and Jonas. Then we see Helge, alt Helge, or our Helge. It could be with the eye damaged, of course. And then we see stranger Jonas meeting up with what looks to be like alt Martha, based on some behind the scenes photo where we can see her in the right side. And then we move on, we see the shots of Jonas in the forest. We see another shot of two people holding hands, and this is Katharina. We can confirm that because of behind the scenes photos where we see her wearing that same dress. And the person whose arms this is most likely going to be Ulrich Nielsen, because of the dress he's wearing and the fact that this chessboard was seen in a few behind the scenes photos and in season 2 with Ulrich. So Katharina is obviously coming to meet Ulrich, and she may kill Hannah because of this. In anger, we see the book where we see a few shots of the half black half white moon, which we saw in HD Thanos's book in season 2 when Elizabeth was going through it. And then again we see a few shots of Martha waking up. Everything is interconnected, future, past and present. And then we see the shot of the alternate gang with Killian Obendorf, which I discussed in my previous video. and then the trailer ends with Jonas and Martha kissing, the alternate or future caves from the poster, and then the title sequence Dark coming on June 27th. So a pretty interesting franchise trailer. More than giving us anything new, I think they just confirmed whatever we know. So pretty much that's gonna be the end of this video, guys. We discussed three things which I hoped you guys learned something new and didn't get the show spoiled for you. But anyway, this is going to be the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Press the subscribe button, click a like, and follow the page however you can. If you do want to watch my previous videos, there'll be a link in the description. And if you do want to watch anything I've referenced in this video, their links will also be in the description. My next video will be coming out in a week's time, probably around Tuesday, Wednesday, once the show drops. But thank you for the support on my first 3 videos coming as a new YouTuber with so few subscribers. It's been really good. I think by the time I've checked, I have around 350 views, so that might not mean a lot for you, but for me that's a lot. So thank you for the support, and goodbye.